Hey Darren, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Do you have like a noise? Is it okay?
I hear your
Do you,
voice clearly, but it sounds like you're in the car, like there's background noise, but I can hear you.
that's Linux noise. I don't know how to. Is it bearable or should I switch the phone? You know.
It's kind of white, so it's okay. I mean, oh, now it's not. Wow.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna like do a second connection again.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that's.
Have you heard of Sujit? Have you heard of Graph Tool?
Graph tool now.
So I heard a podcast with the guy that's his open source project, and it's an alternative network X. It's a high performance alternative.
Graph tool.
And what's that?
Let me go look for it. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry. I should let me look for it too, because it's such a generic name. It's a little hard to locate.
No, it came up. GraphTool.
Yep.
Skewed.com. Skewed.de. Okay. Yeah.
So this guy, what was the kind of tool it is? Well, first of all, he wrote. It all comes. He's a researcher, PhD guy, and it all comes out of his need for a scalable tool.
Okay.
Right, Yuri, we're talking about Graph Tool, and so, but it's very much alive, and not some little thing that just he uses. And also, it has not all of the algorithms that you might expect, but it does, graph algorithms. I'm not talking about graph ML, but just graph algorithms. But it does have clustering. His research is somewhat focused on clustering, so it may have clustering stuff others don't, and it has most graph algorithms. But so. I mean, it sounded, because I know you were talking about Network X and whether it would scale and that kind of stuff. This sounds like a pretty good alternative. And he wrote everything in C++, and then bound it to Python. So sounds useful.
Yeah. So there is another one called Snap, which Leskovic wrote for himself, and that's used by the Stanford. So I think Snap stands for Stanford Network Analysis something. Right, program maybe. That's a C++ thing with Python bindings on top, but it feels very C++y. I wonder how this guy's stuff feels.
I think it feels very Pythonic. I think he talked about that, but let's look right now. Snap versus. Let's just take a quick look.
Okay. Yeah.
Snap versus Graph Tool. Right. Yeah, it's funny how much similar they sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stanford Network Analysis Platform, that's Snap.
They've put, okay, there is this one here. It's analysis of different, including Graph Tool, Network X, and Snap. And he's got two others. iGraph I've heard of, and NetworkIt I haven't heard of. Okay.
Let me see. Oops.
Yeah, they're going mostly on speed here on this one.
Yeah. Which is not really that. It's only important when it's important.
Right.
No, it's really the affordances that are the most important to begin with.
Yeah, so we are actually, because the Graph 224W, it is being taught by Leskovic. So he promotes his Snap tool. And he gives you exercises in Snap, but most of the exercises are really toy, even if they're medium-sized graphs, they're toy graphs in general. I mean, not super large industrial strength, industrial kind of graphs. You can, get by with Network X, even without acceleration, with cuGraph, right? So I had been thinking of using cuGraph for some of these but even without, it looks, they get done pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just reading a little more on it too, but it sounds like you don't need to worry about it at this point. I just thought it was interesting, and it might be something.
No, it's good to have these and know about these
Reasonably
at least.
sure. Use Python library makes it nearly trivial to bind to C++, fast, stable, based on solid theory. This is all about GraphLib. Well documented, widely used. Typing networks for robotics. This Cora is discussing it. All right. Okay. Well, should we get started, I guess? So, Sujit, how's the Jack stuff going? And
it's winding down. We got a 2-day extension. So most likely by CET, I think it's Central European, I guess. Midnight CET Friday, that's today. We will lose our CPU or our TPUs, or they might have extended to Saturday, so we might have one more day. We are supposed to get done by Monday for demos. So we are building a demo. I use Streamlit to build a demo, so
not again.
Yeah. So we build that, and it's basically an image. So it's an image search kind of platform or a demo, where you enter a string, it gives you images, and you enter an image, it gives you images, right? And basically the idea is to showcase the model, which is an image to, a common encoding for image and text, trained on images and captions. So
it would be considered. Could you call it multimodal vector search?
Yeah, exactly. You could.
By the way, is it open? It's demonstration open or?
Demonstration should be open. So right now it's supposed to be on Hugging Face Spaces, which is in beta right now. So even though my space is supposed to be public, and of course I don't have stuff on it yet, but even if it's public, it is not visible unless you're logged in as part of the Flex community organization, right? So we all got pulled into the Flex community organization, right, in Hugging Face, and so you have to be logged into that. But I think they'll open it up. I do have it on my main public repo, but you have to start it up yourself. I can start it up. If you give me some time, I can show you what's like, but I will need some time to do it.
I was more interested in the demos. If the demos themselves are going to be open, are you going to stream them, or how is it?
Oh, well, I mean, so there are different teams. Each of them have their own. Well, and assuming that they created a model at the end of it, they have a space to upload their models, and you get a model card. Along with that, you also get a space. You can put in a grad.io or Streamlit. I'm not sure what grad.io is, or I'm not familiar with it. And so you put up a demo, and that's pretty much it. So then it's open to the public, and everybody can use it and so forth. Also, also the code that we are doing, we kind of went a different direction. What they were saying is that you create a repository on the hub itself. So whatever you do, as you push your model up, right, your code sits on the file section, right? Just like there is no manual involvement at all. So, but we didn't do that. We had our own public repository. So that is public anyway. So you can the code is there.
I think it would be worth seeing if it's easy for you. Like next time you got it up and running, could you? Streamlit has a way. I haven't done it, but a way of recording, sharing. But in
Oh, I see,
general,
okay.
just either sharing live on here or even just having a couple screenshots would be interesting, just to see it. Whatever's easiest for you.
Yeah, that let me do this. But keep talking so that way, I don't hold you guys up. Right. So.
Okay. So Yuri, what's going on with you? With I know you guys were doing the Scrum stuff, actually re-engineering your engineering processes. You also have those internal sort of cohort meetings and things like that, and you've got other things too, like the bird sentence stuff. And well, you got anything worth discussing or asking or whatever?
Yeah. So first, but first I have a question. So I I think we talked about vector search before a lot, and I got a lot of help from you. So I think finally gonna like experiment with it because we're improving search, and I was going through like my YouTube and I found this presentation from PyData, and I don't remember where I got it from. So I wanted to see if it was maybe shared by the Sujit or you. It's sort of like a recommendation on how to build search applications.
I don't. Well, I can check vector search for search applications. I might have something on it.
No, but this is I was so this is more like a design how you want to like in practice like build your
is this
search.
Sebastian Hofstadter's stuff that you shared?
No, this is different. This is the guy from NVIDIA and the guy from a bunch of other companies.
Oh, okay.
What were they talking about? What type of vector space to produce? Is that what you're talking about?
This was more like if you're like in 2021 and you want to build a search into your website, what are the practical application? Like what are the just practical design considerations? The reason I was just curious because I saw that I watched this video before and I watched it again. Actually, it's quite interesting. But I don't remember at all watching it or where I got it from. So I was just curious if it came up in other discussions. But they like sort of it was interesting because we started so we're improving search and actually we started changing website also. So the thing that came up today and that's what I wanted to kind of maybe ask about. So we want to just like improve the search and we're already like doing that, but now we want to include vector search just because we already have embeddings that we think are useful, but also they're going the other way and basically they want to build tags into everything we put on the website, and I think it's both for search and for like promoting of terms, a bit of that optimization. And I don't know anything about that. It's
what kind of mean like what it's about? What each page is about?
Yeah, so it's so it's because we generate content. So I think they want to like make content more more popular on Google search, stuff like that.
So what do you mean? What do you mean you generate content? You have editors rating stuff or scientists ratings? How much content do you generate a day or a week?
No, we generate maybe 2-3 articles a week, not that many.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're like point. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yep. They're like what? Big articles, right? Like technical.
It's more like a nodes kind of, it's like a trading nodes, basically, commodities note, like basically the stuff that helps people, like, you want to like know where market is going, what are the market. So
market
a lot
analysis.
of companies, a lot of companies do that. Like this is sort of, we're doing it mostly because like we can show it with our data. But just by itself, it's useful. So once in a while we actually search without like doing anything special. Once in a while we're ranked really high for certain things just because they're popular. But I think now they're thinking, well, we should like, maybe we should like do something special to boost the ranking.
What's your total collection of these reports? But not, that are worth, that aren't dead, let's say. 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000.
No, like 1,000 maybe. Yeah, I would say 1,000. But then we have that's just reports. But then we have actually definitions of everything we have in our ontology. I don't know.
I mean, you're so focused on SEO with it, right? That's the whole point.
I don't think we've been doing any SEO till now, so, or like, anything like that, because it really like we I think the idea was like we people who we know who would be interested in our data, and we kind of approach them and we just they get the links directly. But since we're improving search,
I mean, so people use tools. I don't know that much from the search SEO side, but there are some free tools and paid tools where you get put in your content and get your keywords, and the keywords are not like, it's not like there's NLP involved, but the key thing is, what are the hottest terms? What are people, most likely going to search for, right? So you just need keywords that are optimized to SEO, right, to drive traffic.
Yeah, so they really should be different than keywords you use for search, right?
I think
like there's
why is that? Not if you're trying to drive SEO. That's your point.
No. I mean search. I mean, I'm thinking of different search. Like I'm thinking search. Somebody comes to our website and uses search to find, something like, something where we have internal data, so we want to like, serve the right information for them. But then if somebody does general search, then we want to, I guess, put the right keyword set to.
When you say right keyword set, sorry. Yeah. So when you say the right keyword set, what do you mean? Suggested queries?
Yeah. So again, I don't know the SEO side at all, but with search was at least was like with internal search we kind of building up the structure where we're defining facets now. So we like, so you search our data, you actually can like do.
Yeah, you're talking parametric. You want to be able to parametrically refine by topic.
Yeah, like basically what results you get. But also we want to tag. We also want to use tagging. So we from tagging, from metadata, we can like basically bring up the relevant documents.
Okay.
So that's like a internal search.
So you want to feed the Google bot, right?
But then on the other side, we want to feed the Google bot. I think that just came up today. I was like,
So you just need I mean, that's what I do. But I do it on a larger scale for larger collections of documents. I mean, you need someone to write a little taxonomy for you, whether it's flat or it has a couple levels. I don't know if you need, your collection's kind of small, right? So I don't know if you need 10 main topical areas or if you need 100. And the nice thing is, if you do have enough to organize it hierarchically, you can take advantage of that. Assume documents up to broader when you need to. And then once you have that little semantic structure in place and have your documents tagged with it, you don't have a lot of them, you know, you can get it done manually for your backlog. Probably do it.
Well, and
tag them manually. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, actually, I was thinking actually like of tagging them with NLP just because, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's just you have such a small collection, you know, and then when you create a new document, you know, it's, you know, I mean, you could do it with NLP. That'd be fine too. But
yeah, well, the person who is writing it would, you know, they actually they use tags right now, but like right now they're basically like what tags are what they feel is relevant, not from any, you know, collection of tags.
So one
option. It's a
Hmm.
non-controlled vocabulary they're pulling from. But if you have a controlled vocabulary, the thing you can do, you can also bootstrap your way into a supervised learning problem if you want by just, you know, paying someone to tag those 1,000 or doing it internally, and then as you move forward doing it, and then when you have enough examples in a year or whatever it is, or even after that first manual thing, then you train a supervised learning algorithm and you've got your automated classifier, right? It's to a controlled vocabulary, which means you can hook things into it. You know, let's say, you know, it's like 100 terms and it's a little bit of a hierarchy, or you could turn it to ontology if you want to be sophisticated, but you guys don't need that. And then you can, for each one of those official terms, you could also collect hot search keywords, store those as attributes for those official terms. So when you generate the documents, metadata, if it's worth it, I don't know if it really helps with SEO these days. Put those SEO terms in place for any documents that have been automatically classified to the topic in your taxonomy. You know, all sorts of things like that. You can use it for parametric, and you can also use it as an important. You can use your, you know, your official controlled vocabulary, which I'm calling a taxonomy. You can use those in your vector spaces for your vector search as an important attribute or an important feature, like a very important one. So from a content side. But it's a small problem you have, right? You could do all of this pretty inexpensively and quickly and internally, probably.
Yeah, it's if you. So I know of SEO from an ad serving perspective. So essentially, people buy AdWords from Google, right? So essentially, so you basically figure out what your queries are, and then actually Google has a tool to suggest you synonyms for those queries, and then you go and buy those keywords, right? So every time Google detects a query coming into your site, they will surface those ads, ads corresponding to those ad keywords. So you want to be careful not to go too far on their synonyms, but that's basically what I know about SEO. So that's from the ad world. But for the Google bot, you also have, I forget the name now. There is a file, I think XML or JSON file that you put in your top level directory, which describes the site to the Google bot, right? So it helps it to navigate to places and also not go to places where you don't want it to. And as for tagging, if you're only going to feed the Google bot, it has markup, specific markup. I think it's called something, I forget now. It's an XML-ish thing that you embed into your HTML. And it's not visible, obviously, but it's visible to the Google bot. And you can put tags in and get stuff out. But I think you're looking at... Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think Yuri is looking for, putting the content of the tags more than how to do all this, right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that inline XML, I forget, Smile maybe or something. I can't forget the name of it, but I think it's mostly used, maybe it affects your SEO, but it's mostly used, when you get in your results list, get a
relevant scoring. Yes.
No, but what it uses, it puts the little snippet under it. So sometimes those are structured snippets, whereas it allows you to go further. It surfaces structured information into your snippet.
Okay.
But I mean, Yuri's talking about a lot of functionality, and what I would say, there's a lot of different things that this I don't know what's prioritized, but the way I would approach it is I just create a controlled vocabulary of some sort by surveying your content. Taxonomists do that, or someone at a domain expert do that. Now, we store that in Pool Party, but you don't have a tool for it. I don't know, maybe you store it in Excel or something, but usually it'd be in some sort of database or other information with it and use it dynamically. But
yeah, you could do a topic model as well, and then interpret the models, the topics, and tag them, use them as tags.
That's a great way to start building your taxonomy, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Or your controlled vocabulary.
Right.
I mean, but I'm sure that probably somebody could sit down in 10 minutes and throw out all the terms and words. And you could have a couple of people do that, and then you combine it, and then you use your intuition, and then you parse it against your content to make sure you didn't miss stuff.
Right. Well, one other thing you can do is, you start off with like a very bare bones thing, right? Maybe 20, 30 tags. And then in the authoring system, you present those as options. And, it should also allow you to, add more stuff if you don't find what you need, right? So over time, you will find that it kind of converges, and anything you add is now shared with everybody else, right? So, let's say you had tag 1, tag 2, tag 3 to begin with. The author sees it, and it's presented with these 3 tags, and it says, no, I want tag 4, right? So the next time somebody comes in and authors something else, they see tag 1, tag 2, tag 3, tag 4, right? And so that way you kind of grow your tag set over time, right? And you can use that as one other.
That's a great way of sort of crowdsourcing the collecting phase.
Right.
And you can do that on an ongoing basis, but you probably do need someone in the background or something in the background that's combining those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quality control has to be done. But yeah,
but it's not just I mean.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Yep. All right, Yuri, any other thoughts on the need for semantic tagging of your content?
But but this is purely this is for Google, kind of this is for Googlebot and for outside, and this should be as simple as possible, right? Not as simple, but as general as possible.
Yes. Right? So, you're saying you're targeting bots other than Googlebot as well?
No. What I'm saying is that's like the serving outside, but then for internal search, so that's more closer to where I'll be helping, because I don't know what how kind of we're just kind of helping the website, right? But for the search, for internal search, so we're now using the Pure Solar. So we're finally gonna try to plug in vectors. So we don't know yet what's gonna happen, but at least we're gonna try.
I think Lucy 9 is started with native support, right?
So there is a support. What I do not understand, and I guess we'll kind of figure out. So I can create vector. I actually already have vectors for a lot of things that are relevant in our internal structures. So basically for our the database ontology, right? Basically what we're serving data on. So I can see. So I know how to do it myself I know how to do relevancy search myself with system like sentence transformer, because it has basically given the query or given like some, sentence, you can, convert it into the vector space, do cosine similarity, and find like the closest terms, and that's doing it really quickly. But for Solr, is there another, like, do you know if there's like some mathematical library that sits under there that does the same thing, that does basically, let's say I give it like a bunch of vectors with its and it does some pre-computing where like given the new vector, it will like do the fast search.
I think with at least with HNSW, it basically partitions the space into smaller. They call it Voronoi something or other, right? So like polygonal kind of things in space, and essentially it's like your space is partitioned, and once you find where your your query vector is, you only look in the current space or around, depending on how far you want to look, maybe in one hop neighborhoods or two hop neighborhoods kind of space.
So what library does that?
Almost everybody. HNSW is the algorithm's name. Hierarchical something. Small world is SW, I think, is small world.
Okay. So is that part of Solr?
No, it's an algorithm.
Algorithm. Okay.
I don't think it is.
But Solr uses it, right?
Yes.
So
okay.
HNLW, is that right?
HNSW, Hierarchical Navigable Small World. Let me send you the thing. Blog. Okay.
And the other question, like more again, from using the search engine, do they already have? So there is a, I can run like a BM25 search and gives me some ranking, and then I can run vector search and it gives me some ranking. Is there like a default blending of the two, or is that left to the user? Do you know?
It's actually left to the user. So you can do interpolation. You say alpha times one rank, where alpha is your hyperparameter.
1 minus alpha and the other one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about the long URL. It actually sends you to the section.
This is like deviation. We got invited to the board meeting at home, and they send us a Zoom invitation in the mail, in the letter. But Google was able to, Google Lens picked it up, so that was awesome.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. So from a paper letter, they picked it up?
Oh, yeah. No, so they sent us an invitation which had printed Zoom address of the meeting. So like with the Google Lens, I read the text, and there was no errors.
Okay, very nice. Cool.
Technology helped.
Yeah.
This is just saying how they have it partitioned, and how they then use this algorithm to bring the different.
Yeah. It's actually, I mean, it's common sense, right? I mean, you cannot search for everything, and it doesn't make sense to search for everything. Just you cluster up the space and you search within your own cluster. That's pretty much
that's what so ANN is a version. Version of.
Yeah, HNSW is a type of ANN. Yeah. So.
Cool.
Yeah, I have so there is a company called VV8, I think. Yeah. So apparently a guy I used to work with works there. Well, he heads up that company now. I don't remember him, but I think maybe I met him in Amsterdam. He used to work for Elsevier. Now he is the head of Weaviate, and it's another open source vector search library.
How do you spell it?
Weaviate. Hang on. Let me see what I can, if I can find the company here. I think I did. He sent me some. Yeah, Weaviate vector search engine. So I'm not sure if we have, it is a paid thing or not. Maybe it's not, because he talks about open source. But there is a cloud service login, so maybe it is paid. So I heard from him on the Relevance Slack channel. So I did some work with Vespa earlier. So maybe because of that, he found me. And yeah, so that's.
Yeah, you're an active part of the industry, right? Interacting with the vendors.
Yes, I a lot of people send me stuff. And I'm not really sure if I have met him, because it might be like he's making it up, but maybe not. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm sure of it, but I get a lot of these, let us show you this and that and the other. So yeah.
Yeah, there is a, they do have a GitHub, and it looks like that at least the base of what they do might be open source.
Oh, contact and pricing.
There's their Git. I just posted it.
Oh, contact and pricing are secret. Okay. So it's.
Yeah, I mean, but not for the, well, let me see. Obviously not for the open source. Let me see what that. Oh. Low latency vector search engine. Out of the box support for different media types. Yeah, that makes sense. PyTorch, okay. It looks like it's open source, so what they're selling is obviously like on top of this, right?
Right.
It has all the reading about it right there. But of course, if you have solar and you could do it in solar,
Yeah, exactly.
That's the route for you to go.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another one I heard of yesterday was Milvius. It's also open source, China, Shanghai based. But again, doesn't, maybe they're faster on something or other, but I'll post the link here as well. So
it's just everything's becoming a vector.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's just an embedding space you do different stuff with.
Yeah, it's becoming more mainstream, I think, the whole vector search idea. So yeah. It's a good thing that way.
It's kind of interesting because in a way it came out of a different, seems like it came out of a different community than all of the, like Transformers and the research community.
Yeah, it's kind of an adjacent community though. I mean, a lot of, there is a lot of overlap between the two.
Yeah, they just get less press.
Yes, exactly. So talking about vector search, my vector search platform is ready. I can show you quickly.
Okay.
So let me see if I can.
This is the JAX, the competition stuff.
Yes.
It is really amazing that you could do by the direction like that. By the direction? Yeah, I mean the fact you can put in a word and get pictures, put in pictures, get a word. And it's just using the same space. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, okay, this is the first thing that did it with transformers, but it's not the first. Okay, let me find. Okay, let me just do the desktop. It's much easier. So here's my desktop. It says you should see text to image retrieval. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
So that's our start. So I can do things like, school building. And it should give me stuff. And this one is, okay, it says playground, the second one. And sparse residential, it does seem to have like a playground in the middle, right? So, okay, so maybe
The
do
one dead center looks wrong.
Yes, probably, yeah. Yeah.
But if you put school building, you might get my house. I live in an old schoolhouse. It would look kind of like, it wouldn't look that complicated. That's definitely not someone's typical schoolhouse. But the rest of them all the way around it are good. It looks like a convolution is what's...
Do military headquarters.
Let's try that.
Military headquarters? But awesome, man.
All right. So you got a square.
That's air bases. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the one in the middle again? It's a school. Keep screwing you up in the middle.
Yeah. So it's giving. I'm just getting 10 results.
Monument, I guess.
It could be a military school.
Yeah, exactly.
Or let's do ships.
Ships. These are okay. Let's try it.
Oh, it wasn't on.
Oh wait, no, it's there. Look at that.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
And this is just a matter of, I mean, there had to be no real manual intervention, right? So the real story here, I'm assuming, is that this is just, you're just creating vector space through self-supervised learning of some sort.
It is self-supervised. Well, so we used, we had, I think, 10,000 odd images with about 5 captions each, right? So it is kind of a supervised set, but you could imagine a situation where, especially places like us, right? We could dump all our images with the captions as training data, right? It's already there, right? So we could use, things like that.
Well, you have, I mean, it's not unusual to have having 5 captions but it's not unusual to have
one image and one caption. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, basically, you've got to, there's got to be some sort of assumption in the data that you've got to draw from, whether that's structure in a graph that says things that are closer to each other are more related, right? Or there's got to be some sort of prior, right, you're taking advantage of, but that's still completely different than having humans, right? When you think supervised learning, traditionally you got to tag your stuff, and when you get new stuff, you have to tag it. No. So this is, and then what else? You got the image to.
Yeah. So image. This is.
What about image to text?
Image to text, we are still in process. We haven't been able to do it yet. So Arto, I don't know if you guys know him.
Yeah.
Yuri knows him. So he's working on a GPT front end. So essentially, we are training the text encoded by clip to be fed into GPT, and it is trained to reproduce the caption, right? So the idea is that since images and captions live close together, if you train it in this manner, in the future when you push the image in, it should tell you the caption, right? So it's still experimental. I don't think we'll be able to do it in time, but that's basically what we have.
So it's actually a different task.
Yes.
With a different vector space. So the text to image and the image to image, are those using the same vector space?
Same vector space, yes.
And the same task, right, basically?
It is this. Yes, well, it is using the same model.
I'm sorry, I mean from a model point of view. Are they using the same model? They're querying the same model.
They are using the same model, yes.
Okay, so because like with the word dev thing I did, you could, put in a document, get a keyword, put in a keyword, get a, essential a taxonomy topic, put in a topic. It's sort of like this similarity, this universal similarity engine, right? Because of the way I fit stuff in it. So that's kind of what this part is. But the generative piece needs to be a different model.
Right. So that's this is our model so far. Yeah.
That's a great exercise, and it's so much fun to see it like this because it's very simple. But but discussing about what you did from looking at this is really interesting.
Right.
Okay.
Well, why do you say it's which part is unsupervised?
It's self-supervised more like, right? Because you could find image caption pairs and train your model to push them together the same. So essentially it's contrastive learning, right? So images and their associated captions are pushed closer together, whereas images and captions from other images or images and other images are pushed further apart.
Okay,
well, but it's a semi-supervised problem. It's not a supervised.
Yes. Yeah.
Semi-supervised just means you've already got it's naturally in the world, whether it's the order of words in a sentence and you mask a word, right? Mm-hmm. You've got your training set basically in nature, right? But supervised, you have your, you have to manually tag it all or put it together. At least from I know it's different underneath as well, the way the model's trained.
Yeah, So
Yuri, what was your question? Am I talking about it in a funny way, or?
Oh, no. Yeah, no. I wanted to understand why is it. Yeah, so that's a good definition. So you already had pairs in the wild because a lot of. And can you are you studying from? So you have pre-trained models are pre-trained or no?
Yes, we have a pre-trained model.
Okay, so in theory, can you like perform well on like can you do zero-shot learning? Can you perform on the like types of?
Yes, but we are not as well. So here is we did our tests, right? And this is our baseline with pre-trained model. So, and this is a test we kind of created where we know the class, right, of the image, and we basically create something like a caption that looks like this, an aerial photograph of whatever category it is, and then we evaluate it, and we try to find how many times it predicts the right in the top 10 predictions, how many times it predicts the right class, right, or where it predicts, how many within how many top k, right? So top k here, as you can see with the baseline, is 0.572. K equals 10 is actually quite nice, it's over 9, right? But however, the best model that we got by fine tuning is significantly better than the baseline.
Okay. So the baseline is basically not fine-tuned at all.
Well, it's zero-shot learning works most of the time. It's not bad. I mean, so yeah. So that's
an evaluation of what aspect of it? Evaluation was done by comparing the clip encoding.
Okay, so
this is of the generative part.
No, this is basically evaluating the how good the image predictions are. So we feed images, a set of images, and for which we know the correct class, right? So it has got 30 classes in the data set we were provided. It's basically a supervised data set, so we were able to use that for evaluation. So we have 30 classes for each, and we create these artificial captions, and we try to make it predict, given this image and this caption. No, sorry. Okay, given this image and this caption, it can also predict how close an image caption pair is, right? So we use that bit, whereas and we take the top 10 predictions and we see how many in the top k where we found our correct prediction.
Okay,
and we
so
score
if
it
you're
based on that.
asking for ships, give me ship pictures. How many of those are ships?
Give me, well, no. So if I give it a ship picture, and then I have 30 synthetic sentences saying an aerial photograph of a ship, an aerial photograph of a school building, an aerial photograph of a residential area, aerial photograph of a mountain, and so forth, right? And then I run my clip, these 30 predictions, these 30 captions, and my image through the clip model. And I get back for each of these image caption pairs, these 30 image caption pairs, what is the score, right? And then I rank these scores, right? And then I look at the top 10 of these ranked scores. And if my, this is a ship, happens to be one of them because I know it's a ship, right? If it's the first one, then it should score on k equals 1. If it's within the top 3, then it should score on k equals 3, and so forth, right? And 0.572 is the number of times it scored the first time at the first position, right?
Yeah, no, I get it. This is classic search rank.
Yes, this is search ranking. Yes, exactly.
Metric.
Yeah.
And how many
in my test set?
how many tag things did you have? How many for this? How many obviously manually classified did you
fully manually classified, about 10,000 images. And
how many images were in the total collection?
The total collection is 10,000 images. And in this set, in my test set, is about 1,000 images.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the test set that these guys gave us, basically. I initially tried a smaller subset of 500, but then Arto pointed out that they already have, the authors have given us a test set, so we might as well use that.
But your clip model, was it trained from scratch? Because I mean, you created a new software, right? So it's flags jabs. So you didn't have like weights for flags jabs.
No, the clip model, there was a FlaxJax model for clip.
Okay,
which
already.
we used.
So you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
okay. So you just fine tune it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think you guys know Gautam is one of the committers here. So we did, because we just had 10,000 images, I did some inline augmentations using PyTorch, and Gautam did some augmentations on text by doing back translation, right? So that was one cool thing that we did, which I think we should mention it somewhere in this place.
Yeah, you mentioned that he was going to do that.
Yeah,
that worked out, and that worked out reasonably well. Obviously.
Yeah.
But by the way, sorry.
I was going to say, how did he do that? Did he use a library? Did he just build it from scratch?
I think he built it from scratch.
You can use Google Translate.
Yeah, we didn't want to use Google Translate, but I think he downloaded some of these machine translation pre-trained libraries and did zero shot on that.
I see. So it's kind of straightforward in a sense. You need a library that'll translate, and you just translate one way and translate the other. That's nice. Very nice.
So yes, I got bit by Google Translate recently.
Okay.
And so because I suggested exactly the same thing to somebody who was doing who was training the model. So there are two ways we can use Translate, right? I said, oh well, let's just translate, do back translation because that increases the space. But then also we have sources in other languages, and we started using Google Translate because it's if it's not too big, it's free. It's not, And what we realized that we want like agricultural uses of the words, and Google Translate picks most common use of the word. So agricultural use would be there, and so I did it manually, and agricultural use was like second or third.
Okay.
So
Yeah, and you guys, in this exercise here, it's general, right? It's like not domain-specific, really. I wonder what people do when they need domain-specific translation capabilities. They could use transformers and fine-tune it, or, you know, I don't know.
I guess fine-tuning makes sense, right? I mean,
I guess you could do that. A lot more work.
Yeah, I don't have a solution because we run into this and so right now people do it manually, right? Like there's an expert that, and we actually have a lot of multilingual experts that reviewed our automatic translation, automatic mapping, and said, yeah, it makes no sense. And we wanted to build language model anyway, but I wasn't planning on doing it multilingual, but maybe we should be doing it multilingual. Actually, doing it multilingual would actually makes more sense because then it becomes really useful. Because I can like build English like agricultural language model, but if it's multilingual, then people can use it for translation for exactly purposes that we wanted.
exactly right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you guys weren't doing it for back translating, were you?
No. But I was suggesting to somebody to use back translation. But after I saw that how badly it performed, I actually like thought, oh well, it's a good thing they didn't get to use my advice. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, like now I'm thinking like if we pick, so maybe we should think of like building our language model multilingual.
I also do wonder if there's one out there. I mean, there are. I think that you'd have to pay for. It might be worth paying for it. A translation, a multilingual, a model meant for translation. That's, I mean, that
domain specific.
I mean, it may not be exactly your domain, but it may be good. It may be. I would just want to see what's out there for sale quickly before you put all that effort. Because I know it's kind of a hot area, and there's companies that actually are getting paid a lot, I think, to do translation like that. Because there's a whole industry of translation, right, where they have people and manually doing it and trained to do it. Models are very valuable there. They can. All right. Well, we wended our way through some.
And there are I wanted to add one thing. So there are actually just thesaurus and translators for agricultural words that are maintained by international bodies. So so one could theoretically, instead of translation, one can do lookup. But I don't think it's good enough. Like it's normally like the main terms, right? It doesn't.
You could also use that thesaurus for. You could use that thesaurus for what Sujit was talking about, or what we were talking about before with taxonomies. To classify your content, to tag your content. That way, you have a controlled vocabulary you're using to tag, and there's relationships between those tags. Maybe too large for your 1,000 documents. But you just mentioned a thesaurus, right?
Yeah.
Search thesaurus.
Yeah. And we started mapping our own ontology
into that one, yeah.
Into that one, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. And then on top of that, you could have 100 terms that are like the most crisp key terms that you guys specifically deal with, right? And then you've got all those mapped to each other. You can do anything you want.
Right, yeah.
That's sort of taxonomy on top of thesaurus on top of ontology. They are very different structures. Yuri, you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Oh, I wanted to ask, so Darren uses Google, right? Google Cloud. Did you know of a way to get to public AWS data sets from there?
Public AWS data sets?
So there is a public bucket with data, but when I create, so I basically did the most obvious thing that came up, I thought of. I downloaded the AWS CLI tool and configured it with my username, my secret key and my thing, right? And when I try to do, an LS of the bucket, I can do it from my local box, but not from the Google Cloud box. It tells me that.
Yeah. What does it tell you?
So it tells me that it's unrecognized. I think it's lying to me. I think there is some kind of proxy that I need to get through. So,
yeah. No, I have no experience with that. What I do know is there is a Python library that can be used. It's pretty well used. I can't remember the name of the fucking thing, but it's for using to retrieve.
No, Bota?
Either. So, AWS, basically their file system, their blob system has become sort of a standard, right? And so this is like an API that uses that standard, but in a generic way, so it works for GCP. For GCP.
Okay.
You might be better off using that more generic, and it has, of course, how you authenticate and everything too.
Okay. Yeah.
I can try to look it up after, but
yeah. Okay,
what you're asking is, so you're getting rejected based on, what is it saying again?
It says that I don't recognize this token. Unrecognized token or something, it tells me.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
There is also, apparently GSUtil can also work if you configure it. So I tried that. Well, I didn't actually configure it. I tried creating a .boto file, which it's supposed to look up. Even that didn't work. So the last thing I tried was doing rtorrent, and that timed out, because these guys have put it on a public bucket or as a torrent, right? So I was kind of, I failed in all ways in there. So anyway, yeah. This was to get the functional map of the world data that you read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Might be, it might be useful. So we have on our team like a Google Cloud expert, but because it's all asynchronous, I haven't heard from him. So I don't know if he's looking at it.
Yeah.
He might be able to do something.
I can ask somebody. We actually I think we're building Google Cloud capability also, and all of our data is on AWS.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, if you can. Yeah.
I'm just trying to do a quick look up, but
yeah, they mentioned somewhere that if you're an employer and you are trying to support this, then you need to open a proxy and so forth. So I think maybe they try, there is something around that, that's kind of, and I'm not allowed to do that. So
could be. Okay. Anyone have anything else? Questions?
No.
yeah, nothing from me.
All right. Well, we'll talk next week.
Oh, all right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you all soon. Bye.